Hi, and welcome back to the Rubber Room for another episode of Watch It Wednesday. My name's Chris Kelly, and I'm a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. And today I'm going to share with you this technique used to make these beautiful rosettes on this card. As you can see, it's just a gorgeous card, but these rosettes do add a very unique touch to it, and they make it look so beautiful. To start off with, we are going to be using the same technique that we used in last week's Watch It Wednesday video, where we're going to make a frame. So I'm going to use my 1 1/4 inch circle punch, and I'm just going to put it into my cardstock. And today I'm using a piece of Regal Rose, just a little piece of scrap paper. So once I've got my circle punched out, I am going to take my scallop circle punch and insert it so that I can see the back of where I'm going to be punching. I can make sure that I've got it all centered and lined up there. And I'm going to punch, and that's going to make my little scallop circle frame, just like we did last week in the video. So I have this little scallop circle frame, and I'm going to add a little bit of definition into the edges of my scallops using some rose red classic ink and my sponge dauber. And I'm just going to quickly work my way all the way around my little scallop circle frame. This is going to give it a little bit of shading to my finished rosette when I'm done with it. And you can always go back in after you've finished your flower and add a little more color to it if you wanted to. And the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to take my little scallop frame and I'm just going to wad it up. I'm just going to crunch it all up into a little tiny ball. I want to be sure that I don't tear it, but I do want to break down some of the fibers in the cardstock so it'll be a little easier to roll it around into my circle that I'm going to need for my rosette. So after I have it all scrunched up, I'm just going to take my paper snips and cut in between two of the scallops. It doesn't matter which two, but you just want to cut at a little angle. And that's going to give you more of a strip of scallops as opposed to a closed-ended circle. And I'm just going to take one spot at the end where I have cut, and I'm going to put a glue dot on the back of that scallop. That will become the inside of my flower. So once I have that glue dot on the back of my scallop there, I'm going to use that to start rolling my scallop around my paper piercing tool. And the glue dot is going to hold that scallop to the next scallop. And once you've got it started, I'm just going to continue to roll my little scallop strip all the way around my paper piercing tool in just a little circular motion. And it doesn't matter how tight or how loose you wrap it, that will just determine how wide your flower is going to be, how large it's going to be. So if you want a really tight little flower to go in a small spot, wrap it really tight. If you want a bigger flower to use in a bunch like on my card where there's 3, then you don't want to wrap it quite so tight. When you get to the end of your little scallop strip, what you want to do is then place a glue dot on the inside of that the last scallop that's there. So I'm just going to place a glue dot right on the inside of that last scallop. And then I'm just going to attach it on the end there. So I have my strip of scallops all wrapped around my little paper piercing tool. I'm just going to slide it off and then kind of smush it down. So you can see I have kind of the look of a flower there. And you can leave it like that if you want to. I'm going to finish it off doing 2 things to it. What I'm going to do first is I'm going to use my owl punch, and I'm just going to punch out one of the eyes. On that owl punch, I'm going to use to punch out a little circle of Regal Rose cardstock. And I am going to put a glue dot on the back of that little Regal Rose circle there. And I'm going to put that on the bottom of my rosette. And that's just going to give it a little bit of a finishing touch, but it will also give me something to use that I can adhere it to a card with. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my paper piercing tool and I'm just going to use it to flatten down the edges of these scallops. So I'm just taking it and placing it right at the top of the scallop and sort of bending my cardstock around it. And that's just going to sort of lay those scallops down and flatten them out a little bit. So you get a little more of a circular kind of petal look to it. Let's get that one down there. There we go. And there you have it. I did do one in advance here, and I did adhere it to a piece of white cardstock so that you'd be able to see it. And that's what your little finished rosette looks like. So thanks for visiting the Rubber Room today, and I hope you'll take some time to make some of these beautiful little rosettes in the next week or so. Hope to see you back next week. Bye.